Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is July 7th, and it is time for the market overview. We'll be looking at the Dow, SPX, VIX, TNA, UUP, FXE, GLD, and SLV. And we're starting off with the SPX right now. You'll notice that we had an extremely strong day. We gapped way above the level we were looking for, which was 1341. And it was an amazing move. The currencies had all kinds of action overnight. They fixed them all up before the open. Open was bolstered by a positive jobs report, and the bulls did extremely well. So very nice for the bulls. You'll notice that we have a additional secondary tonight, which is the McClellan oscillator, and you'll notice also that it is very high, and this can be interpreted a couple different ways. Above the zero line is bullish, below the zero line is bearish, and the longer something is above one of the two lines lends to the strength of that move, along with the where it's pointing at the moment. So at the moment it's pointing up, and it is very high, and very high can also be a signal of overbought or oversold conditions. So is this a signal of strength, or is this a signal of overbought? Well, just for fun, we're going to look back in time. 9 months, 12 months, all the way back to July of 2009. You'll see that it is at its highest level since that time. So, could you say that this is overbought? Well, certainly there's a strong possibility that it is. And you can also say that, hey, this is an extremely strong move, which it is. Beyond that, what else is here that is interesting? Well, the answer is the MACD histogram. You'll see that it is at the highest level it has been since July of 2009. Huge. And look at the angle of ascent. Atypically, when you have a massive angle of ascent, typically, you have a rapid descent as well. And it doesn't have to be as big on the backstroke as it is on the forward stroke. Sometimes it's greater, sometimes it's less, but the point is that this is a big move. So does this lend evidence that we're going to have something in the possibly near future to counterbalance this? Well, maybe. It's just at the highest level it's been in a very long time. So, now that we have those two things out of the way, I'm going to get rid of this McClellan oscillator. And we have the head and shoulders formation that a lot of people are talking about. It can be interpreted a couple different ways. Everyone's talking about it getting broken, which it very possibly could be. If we gap up another 15 points or so, it's probably all over. So here it is: shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder. So it'd be really interesting if it did, turn around, go down, test the neck level, and see what happens. Of which you have two neck levels, since there's two possibilities. But should it break above this right here? This right here, you would think that is a massively bullish, crazy, beginning of a multi-year rally type move, as it sets new highs and breaks out to the upside. And certainly that is entirely possible. We'll have to wait and see. You can still see wobble and excessive expansion in the short-term moving averages. We can see that the stochastic is massively high. It can stay there, and it did get a slight downtick on it today. RSI still pointing up, and at overbought levels, and it is less likely to stay up there, but it still has some time that it can go should it choose to. MACD histogram still ticking up. MACD itself still ticking up. It does look very bullish on the daily. And there's not going to be too much difference between it and the Dow. Dow, also nice move. No significant formation of a candle to, say that there's a reversal impending or anything like that. This is a pretty decent continuation candle, although it does have a little bit of a tail on the top of it. And everything else is the same. This one is a little different in that the RSI has flattened out and is not pointing up. Stochastic pointing down just a tad, but everything else pointing up. Dow looks very bullish. And the VIX, we did have a green candle today, which is, it did gap down, which can help account for the move up in the SPX and the Dow, even though this is a green candle. Beyond that, RSI is below the 30 finally, and stochastic ticking up, and even the MACD histogram ticking up, although the MACD is still pointing down. Mixed picture. It would have been nicer had we had a hammer or some sort of a reversal candle, but we didn't. So it is what it is. TNA, huge gap and a spinning top. Stochastic starting to point down, RSI still pointing up, way above the 70 line. So to me that's a warning sign, but MACD still going up, MACD histogram still going up. We will have to see. I hate spinning tops. So just to throw that out there once again. Now for the fun stuff. UUP. And, it was red. And it is engulfing. Woo! So, RSI pointing down, stochastic pointing up, and MACD trying to figure out what to go and do with itself. We can see essentially a flat line on the short-term moving averages, indicating that it is losing strength, even though the bar is pathetic and weak. So definitely questionable for the strength of the dollar. It did have that gap. Whether it's going to provide any kind of real support is anyone's guess. But if it gaps down, then we'll have a double gap. And actually, if it gaps down, we'll have a double gap, because then that'll leave some space open here, and it'll leave space open here. So won't that be fun? FXE, this sucker just plunged overnight, and they fixed it right before the market opened, and this would have looked so different had they not fixed it, but we have what we have. It's bullish engulfing. It's sitting on top of the bar in the flat line, even though the bar is rather useless at this point, and the short-term moving averages are pointing down. It is still a flat line. So just like UUP, MACD trying to figure out what to do with itself, RSI pointing up, stochastic pointing down, and so not much to say about this. GLD, another nice move. It did end with a hammer. Stochastic is very high. RSI is right at 50, neutral, and we may be getting a bullish crossover on the MACD histogram, ready to cross over the zero line. So and you'll notice that the bar is still intact. It is being ejected from the bar. This does look good to me, even though we have a hammer today. If we're able to complete getting ejected from the bar and we have separation, full separation once again, we may have an entry point on gold. SLV another day up, which is great. Stinking silver has been beat up enough, I say, but you know, not like the market really cares about that. So it's been essentially a indecision candle today. Very low movement. It does have a bearish bar to contend with, even though it is starting to compress really tight. I mean, I blew that way up so we could see the separation, but if we look at it normal, it is essentially a flat line just about. So positive thing is that the short-term moving averages are moving up and will not encounter too much resistance to break through it. You'll notice that the stochastic is very high, but at least the RSI is up through the 50, and we do have a bullish cross on the MACD. So this is probably the best that silver has looked in, I don't know, 5 weeks, maybe 6. So at least it has that going for it. And there you are, the market overview for tonight. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video are for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Tomorrow is the big jobs report that everyone has been waiting for. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be fun and interesting regardless. Have a nice night.